What's going on, everybody? It's your boy John, and welcome back to Gearbox. So today, we're gonna cut right to the chase. I'm here to make your life a hell of a lot easier as it relates to your 2019 F150, and that is as it relates to maintenance. So, behind me, when you buy your F150, you might get something like this. Or specifically what we're talking about today is this. This is your owner's manual for your truck. Specifically, if you turn to page 348, this is going to tell you everything you need to know, but I'm gonna make your life a hell of a lot easier today, and we're gonna talk about maintenance. Obviously, as a car, truck, whatever type of owner you are, maintenance is going to just ensure the best reliability and the best overall experience with your car, truck, SUV, etc. So without further ado, let's get right into number one on the list of maintenance items on your F-150. Obviously, when we're talking about maintenance on anything, probably the first thing that's going to come up, or the first topic that's going to come up, is going to be oil change. Now, when it comes to your F-150, it's really not going to differ a whole lot from any other platform, but really, as Ford states in the owner's manual, you're looking at an increment of 5,000 to 700 or 7,500 miles. Now, for me personally, running a 3.5 EcoBoost engine in here, I like to go early. I like to do my oil change every 5,000 miles. Reason being, obviously, it's just good to get new oil in the truck regardless, but especially with those turbochargers, oil does run through those. So I want to make sure that both the engine as well as the forced induction has the best lubrication and ultimately cooling as well that they possibly can. Up to you. Ford gives you the option 5,000 to 7,500 miles. So once again, that's your call. I choose 5,000, but that's neither here nor there. On to probably the second most popular maintenance item or whatever on your car, truck, SUV is going to be tire rotations. Now, based on Ford's owner manual, based on every other manual I've seen, everyone is going to suggest a tire rotation every 10,000 miles or every second oil change in the case of me, doing every 5,000 mile oil changes. Now, if you're asking yourself, what's the point of a tire rotation, or can I go a little bit longer? You know, is this going to be harmful to me? Well, one, just go ahead and do your maintenance. It's not hard. But if you don't really understand the concept, basically what you're doing is you're taking the tires from each four corners of your truck and you're going to rotate them around. And what this is going to do is basically ensure that the tire wear is, going about properly, and you're distributing those tires to the front and the rear, for example, because the front is heavier, so you're going to wear more on the front. But overall, if you properly rotate your tires on that 10,000 mile increment, you're going to get more of a longevity on your actual wheel and tire setup. For example, let's go ahead and check out. Right now, I run Toyo Open Country AT3s. These are 35s, I believe 17 by 8.5 method wheels. Those tires are not cheap, so obviously the more that we can get out of them, the better. So let's go ahead and rotate those tires. Once again, that's going to be every 10,000 miles. Not the biggest deal if you go over or under, but if you want to save money in the long run, definitely take a look at rotating those tires every 10,000 miles. On to the third topic of discussion today as it relates to maintenance on your F-150. What we're talking about here are your cabin air filters. Yes, you need to replace your cabin air filter. Based on Ford's owner manual, you need to do this every 20,000 miles. I haven't hit that point yet. I probably should, just for shits and giggles. Typically, they're going to be under the glove compartment in the passenger side of the truck here, but it's something that can easily be overlooked. You know, it's not a mechanical part to the truck. It's not going to cause your truck to implode on itself or anything like that. But what I can tell you, I've got my WRX right here. I've done the cabin air filter on that a lot. And every time I do it, I'm like, why did I not do this sooner? It makes such a big difference compared to what you would think a cabin air filter would do. So just something to keep in mind. Not the biggest, highest ticket item when it comes to maintenance on your F-150, but based on the owner's manual, that is a 20,000 mile increment. So go ahead and change that cabin air filter. Next on the list of maintenance items, we are going to be talking about your actual engine air filter. Ford recommends you to change this every 30,000 miles, but just keep in mind, 100%, this is for your standard OEM air filter, your standard OEM air box. It's a paper filter. If I had to guess, there are these two little clips. You undo the air box, you take out a probably brown piece of paper, stick a white piece of paper in, close it up, and you're good to go. This does not apply to any aftermarket air filters. And the reason that I bring this up, once again, I'll go ahead and spoil it. We're going to do an air filter on this truck to get more induction noises, so stay tuned, subscribe, whatever. But when I did the air filter on my WRX right here, I was shocked at how much that increment shrunk when you went to a actual, physical air filter that you clean and don't replace. Cobb suggests I clean that every 600 to 800 miles. That's a little ridiculous in my opinion, but if you have an aftermarket intake on your 2019 F-150, I would say go ahead and maybe clean it every 1,000 miles. But in the case of a OEM air filter, gonna replace that every 30,000 miles. Now that we've climbed our way up in the mileage game, let's go to your 100,000 mile marker maintenance items. Two big ticket items here are going to be spark plugs as well as a coolant flush. Learn from me, once again, this is based on the WRX. Do not skip your spark plug maintenance. It sucks when you foul out a spark plug or 2 or 3 or 4 or 8. In this case of some models of F-150s, coolant as well. Really, these two things are just going to, as with all of this, but these are going to increase the longevity and overall experience with your F-150. Definitely spark plugs. This is going to be a little bit more of an involved maintenance, but obviously you're at 100,000 miles. Truck's going to start needing a little more work and a little more TLC to keep your truck on the road, keep you safe, and overall just having a good time with that F-150 platform. And for the last topic of discussion today, we're going to do 100,000 mile plus maintenance on your F-150. This could really be a whole lot of different things. I would say more often than not, this is when you start getting into belt replacement, axle greasing, and just some kind of overall stuff, transmission fluid, for example. This is going to be some maintenance items that, especially if you're not into trucks or into cars or don't really understand how they work, odds are you probably don't even know what the hell they're going to be doing the maintenance on. But when you start to get down to it, for example, transmission fluid. Transmission fluid is going to help, obviously, operate the transmission, but also cooling and lubrication of the gears inside that transmission. That's not stuff that normal people think about. People like me, maybe people like you, who are more into it or more mechanically inclined can understand and appreciate those maintenance items, but most people won't. So anyway, just note that once you get over that 100,000 mile mark, that's really when things are going to start, let's call it getting real for you from a maintenance perspective. There's a lot of moving parts in a truck. There's a lot of things that need to be kind of checked on to ensure proper functionality, and once again, longevity. That's what all of this comes back to, is longevity of the operation of your F-150. So please make sure that you are doing the proper maintenance accordingly. But that's really it, guys. After that, 100,000, 150, 200, 300,000 mile trucks, there's shit happens, right? There's going to be things that just break or wear out over time. That's not necessarily any fault to you or to Ford. That's just how it goes when you operate a essentially mechanical vehicle. So just keep that in mind. If you notice anything that seems off, like let's call it alignment, for example. Ford doesn't really specify how often you need to align your truck, but if you are on the highway and you let go of the steering wheel and it starts to veer one way or the other, yeah, go ahead and get it aligned. Maybe your toe is off a little bit and you hit a big pothole and kind of adjusted that. Stuff like that. Just always be kind of aware of your norms of anything, but in this case your truck, and try to continuously meet those norms. And you will be in a great place, and you will have a lot more miles to put on your truck and continue doing what you're doing with your F-150. So guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of Gearbox. If you like what you see, please give this video a big fat thumbs up. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the comments section down below. As always, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know the drill. And until next time, peace.